You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. I am Daniel.
And I'm Clint. Welcome to Locked On Bulldogs here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This podcast is for fans by fans. You're going to find that out through the entirety of this podcast. If you're new to us, if you're ride or die with us, glad you are here. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us over on Twitter. You can see that right below us. Dawgs Podcast is that little handle right there. Interact with us there, as well as get on Stitcher or Apple Podcasts. Follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating and review. Helps other people. Daniel and I are back in, I want to say, 75% full.
Yeah.
75? Okay.
I'd be willing to give you 75%.
Thank you. And just like spinning the wheel of targeting or spinning the wheel of transfer portal, we spun the wheel if there's going to be a podcast tomorrow, and it came up. There is going to be one. We're here.
I was wondering if you were going to say that was positive or negative. Like it came up podcast. It came up podcast. So
That's right. That's right.
Whether that's a good thing for you or a bad thing for you, we will just let you determine that. But we're here. As Clint said, for fans, by fans. It's the quote-unquote off-season for the University of Georgia. But there's no off-season when you're the national champions, Clint. There's
zero.
You don't sleep when you're the national champions.
Zero chill.
Heavy's the head that wears the crown, and that's our head. That's our collective fan base. We are on top of college football, and as such, there's always going to be storylines. Yesterday, we talked about some huge players on the defensive side of the ball. Of course, Georgia's losing a ton on that side of the ball. Talked about some huge players coming back. Today, we flip around to the offensive side of the ball, and dare I say, Clint, it's almost the opposite story because while Georgia is keeping a ton on offense, right?
So much.
The vast majority of the offense is coming back for another run in Athens. The big storyline is who's not coming back.
That's exactly right.
We'll discuss that the offense at length today, and we'll talk about all those things. But I guess we start with the quarterback situation.
You have to, Daniel, because everybody's talking about it. We got to talk about the mailman has decided to come back, run it back again. Much consternation. There was not a lot of word out if he was coming back or not. Caleb Williams is in the portal. Georgia and USC has been talked about quite a bit. By the way, it's USC, everybody. It's USC. His old coach is there. It's the West Coast.
Okay.
It's Pac-12.
Okay.
It's easy football. Let's just do the thing that we do best and just set out the expectation for that. Okay? There's the bar. Are y'all happy?
Yeah. Okay. So our expectation should be that Kirby's not going to pursue big-time quarterbacks in the portal, Clint? Is that what you're saying our expectation should be?
I don't know what to do with my Daniel. This is a national championship. We're on top of college football. Is this? I don't know how to act. I'm regressing back to what we were before. Listen, I don't know how to act.
We don't know who's coming in. We're going to talk about the names that we do know. JT Daniels is on the way out.
Here you go.
And Stetson Bennett, moments later, announced that he would be returning. Let me start here. If you're up in arms about this, first of all,
about a national championship winning quarterback coming back to play for your team the following season, if that's what you mean by up in arms, Daniel, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't be. I'll just say it like that. Don't be up in arms.
That seems too simple. Seems too simple.
No. What you could do is you could just the thing that you're doing, you could just stop it. I try to use this logic with my kids all the time. Just the thing that you're doing that you should not be doing, that you don't want to be doing, that's not good to be doing, that everyone's telling you is wrong to be doing. Just what if you just stop doing that thing?
But
so that would be some advice.
Sometimes I do the thing I don't want to do, and I don't do the thing that I want to do. It's a very complicated system up in here.
It's not that complicated though. If you were to just stop. If you were to just stop. Okay. Let me follow up with this. And we're going to talk about the ins and outs, what Georgia's getting, what Georgia's losing, all that. We'll probably do that in the next segment. But let me follow up with this and say, what did you expect to happen? I'm looking at you, John Tweet Sports. I'm looking at you, all these. A lot of narratives were trying to be pitched at me about like what was going to happen. But like, what did you think was going to happen? Did you think JT Daniels was going to come back after being healthy for the last 8 weeks and riding the pine?
Look, JT Daniels we knew was gone. Okay, that one was not a question in my mind at all.
Did you think that Stetson Bennett was going to transfer when he's the most experienced quarterback in the room? He just led his team to a national championship, and there's a roster spot available to him at his dream school, the University of Georgia?
I'm just telling you this right now. Look, this is what I love about Kirby and him coming back, JT leaving, Stets coming back, tells me this, and it tells me the thing that's always been Kirby's MO. And he said this since day one, and he said it all along the way. And if you think Kirby's changing, you're stupid. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. You're foolish on this. He said competition is key, and every single time when he says, hey, he's going to start, he's going, what? Whoever practices well. We saw that with Stets and JT. It was clear Stets gave us the best opportunity. Him coming back, I didn't think he was because, now this guy's a true competitor. I'll say that. Okay, so he's known the whole yeyear. You got to win the spot, all right? And he's gone on and done that. He's coming back with 5-star quarterbacks right there. You throw a rock and you hit a 5-star quarterback. They're going to be competing. If I was to give, a betting line right now, I'm putting betting line on somebody else starting week 1 rather than Stet. That's my bet right now. It is. It's my bet right now. He's a national championship quarterback.
With his hands. He doesn't know what to do with his hands. He doesn't.
No, I'm serious about this. My bet is on somebody else not named Stetson starting the year. Because if you're telling me there's an open competition, which Kirby has said there always is, and that's true to form.
And there will be. Okay? There absolutely will be.
There will be. My money is on somebody overtaking Stet with just the talent-wise. Now, the thing that's going to drop him back is the comfortability with the playbook and guys rallying around and all that stuff. I was surprised he was coming back because I think he could have sailed off into the sunset being absolutely like just go out on apex, go out on top. He decided to come back. I'm glad he's here. Now with that, I'm glad he's here. Dog Nation, don't get mad at me for saying that. I'm glad he's here. I'm thrilled he's here. And if he wins the starting quarterback position, do you know who's going to say, well, we should have started Carson Beck. We should have started Not me. Why? No. Because he won the job. That's what it means.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely, Clint. And we're going to come back to that. We're going to jump off of that last point in the second segment. First, Clint is going to tell you about the fine folks over at Netsuite.
Netsuite. This is it. The putt to sink to win the championship. If you sink it, the championship is yours. But on your backswing, your hat falls over your eyes. Is this how you're running your business? Poor visibility. Because you're still relying on spreadsheets, outdated finance software. To see the full picture, you need to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is #1 cloud financial system to power your growth, visibility, and control over all your finances, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more. NetSuite is everything you need to grow, all in the one place. It's just the one place. It's like a package deal, y'all.
One-stop shop.
Thank you. With NetSuite, you can automate your processes, close your books in no time while staying well ahead of your competition. I like that. Being ahead of your competition.
Mm-hmm. Like, what if your competition had 18?
Okay, but then what happened?
And you had 33.
Well, that would be we are ahead.
Would put you ahead. That would put you ahead.
Right. Yeah. 93 of survey businesses increase their visibility and control after upgrading to NetSuite. Right now, 28,000 businesses already use NetSuite. For the new year, NetSuite has a new financing program for those ready to upgrade at netsuite.com/locked. Head to netsuite.com/locked for the special one-of-a-kind financing offer on the #1 financial system for growing businesses, netsuite.com/locked.
All right, Clint. You hit on it, and that's kind of what we'll leave it with the quarterbacks. I'm not sure. I would definitely put Stetson as the as the leader in the clubhouse to start the season next year. But we shall see. I do think it is not his job. And if you think that Kirby's just going to give him the job, again, you're fooling yourself. And here's what we've said. The fake punt, 4th and 11, that doesn't exist anymore, y'all.
Not here.
The questions about Justin Fields, who never won a national championship in his college career, versus Jake Fromm, who also never won a national championship in his college career, those questions don't exist anymore.
No.
Kirby picked a guy, and that guy won the national championship last year. Okay? Kirby can be trusted to pick the next guy.
Pick whoever you want.
And it won't necessarily be the same because the team this year won't be the same as it was next year. And Kirby was very clear about that in some of his comments that he made after the national championship game. Defense is going to be different. The offense is going to be different. We don't know. Maybe the system is going to be different. I think whether or not Todd Monken comes back has a huge impact on who the starting quarterback is next year.
Mm-hmm.
These are questions that we've yet to be answered because the Raiders haven't hired a coach yet. And neither have any of the other 42 teams in the NFL that are actively seeking head coach.
I just saw Cliff Kingsbury is being talked about being fired, and what a disappointment he is as the Arizona Cardinals just went to the playoffs with him. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, if you're an NFL coach, just T's and P's to you. Like, I don't know what you got to do to keep a job. It's
not ideal. Okay, let's talk about that. Well, no. You know what, Clint? You brought it up, and so shame on you. We're going to talk about Jermaine Burton. But before we do that, you bring up coaches keeping jobs. Could I just take a moment for us? Just right here, we're at the 12-minute mark of the podcast.
Okay, I'm going to mark it. I'm going to little timestamp.
Right. Yeah, little timestamp. Tom Crean has to be fired.
Guys. Oh no!
Just Tom.
Okay,
Thomas
this is the college
Crean,
basketball segment of this, and yes, I don't know his middle name, but Thomas Edward Crean.
Fleming Crean, the fourth, must be fired as the head basketball coach of the University of Georgia. We're an embarrassment. Now listen, it's not because you got blown out by the number 2 team in the country, Auburn, last night.
Sure.
Okay? That has nothing to do with why you have to fire this man. Why you have to fire this man is not because Auburn blew you out. It's because of who Auburn is.
There we go.
And who you are. Do you understand that we're talking about Auburn? Friends, Auburn has the number 2 ranked basketball program in the country. They are a favorite to win the national championship, make it to the Final Four. This is Auburn, who has less basketball tradition than this podcast. You understand? Like, less pedigree than us. That's Auburn. They went out and made a real hire at head coach. They committed to the basketball program. They weren't afraid to make difficult decisions, Josh Brooks.
Oh, no.
And now they are winning basketball games, and they're doing it with our players. KD Johnson, how you doing?
That's honestly the worst part of it. The worst part is we're an embarrassment. Tom Crean's still the coach, and it's just like the man took the belt off your pants and then started beating you with the belt that you wore to school. Like, what is going on? This is the most embarrassing thing in the world. I hate every bit of this. I would love to I got neck deep into Georgia basketball 2 years ago, and I've rued the day ever since I did so because it's been an abject abomination. Okay.
Fire Tom Crean. We're going to keep coming back to that. Let's talk about Jermaine Burton, though.
There we go.
This was a surprise. This decision was a surprise to many. It was a surprise to me. I know it was a surprise to you.
Yep.
What do you make of it, Clint? What do we make of this Jermaine Burton news? He's in the portal. We don't know where he's going to go. We don't know what's going to happen with him, but he's not going to be in Athens next year.
Okay. I'm going to go big picture down to specifics for wide receivers at Georgia, and I'm going to hit Jermaine in between. Big picture is this. Guys, podcast listeners, guys and gals, there is nothing in the world that will keep any player in a program any longer There is no more sacred. There is no more holy. There is no more guarantee. The man won a national championship. He was injured, yes, I get it, but he was featured in this offense as much as he wanted to. You go out and you perform, you get to play in a Todd Monken system that aired the ball out. Guys, we aired the ball out as much as we could. He led the team in yards per catch on an average, over 10 or something like that. Nothing. So big picture, recruiting wise, like, guys, don't blame anybody for guys leaving. They can leave for any number of reasons. Okay. So that's point one. Point two, what it means for the wide receiver group, guys, he's a great talent. I love Jermaine Burton and I hope him well wherever he goes. We fine. Okay. Like, guys, we fine. Did these names hit the portal or the draft roster? Kyrus Jackson?
No.
Don Blaylock?
No.
Ladd McConkey?
No, he's back.
Brock Bowers.
I'm sorry. Why is there 4 fingers up on your hand? Why did you not?
I was burying the lead, Daniel. I'm burying the lead. Holy jeez. Everybody calm down. Okay, good on him. And then lastly, what it means specifically for him, I think him and JT are going to reunite somewhere. I think he's a package deal with JT wherever they go. So you're going to get a quarterback and a wide receiver.
Lane Kiffin, well, you're welcome. Have fun winning 9 more games next year. Okay. I don't know if I think nothing is sacred in college football. If anyone transfer for any, I do think there were some factors. Okay, some of which you mentioned, some of which you didn't. I do think JT is a factor. I do think when Jermaine Burton looks at Stetson Bennett and JT Daniels and says, "Who is the quarterback most likely to get me drafted really high in the NFL draft?" then there's an answer to that question that he's made. Now, I'm not telling you that that's necessarily what I think or anyone else thinks or is true. I'm just telling you, I think that's probably a decision that he's made. Wide receiver coach, Cortez. He's off to LSU for Brian Kelly, Louisiana guy. We didn't talk about this on the podcast because we were dead. But Cortez gone. That's a big factor. Okay?
It is.
Questions about Todd Monken and the overall offensive system. Okay, so now all of a sudden, if you're Jermaine Burton, you're not even 100% sure that you're coming back to the same offensive play caller. You don't know what kind of system's going to be run. And this guy's thinking 1 more year.
He's one
and then I go get paid. Yep. 1 more year. And so that's a lot of risks, right? No, you lose the quarterback that you think is your best fit for whatever reason. You lose your personal position coach that recruited you, that's been good to you, that has featured you in the offense. And you may dang well lose the guy calling the plays that featured you in the offense. And so this is a very big year for Jermaine Burton, and he wants to go somewhere where he can control the narrative, he can control the system, and he can feel like he's in charge of his future. And listen, I don't blame him for that.
None.
That being said, yes, we're fine. It's a huge loss for Georgia. I'll just play the devil's advocate. It's a huge loss for Georgia,
especially next year's group. With what we had this year, we could take somebody that had speed. Hopefully, Arian comes back full speed, but we don't have another one of him.
No, right? He's the best wide receiver coming back by a mile.
Yes.
Okay. George Pickens, he's gone. Jermaine Burton was the only other dude of that caliber. Okay? I'm not saying that guys like McConkey and A.D. Mitchell and Kyrus Jackson and Marcus Rosemead, if next year is the year that he makes a step forward in his progression. I'm not saying those guys can't perform in an offense that could play very well. But there were no guys like Jermaine Burton. And now on the roster, there are no guys like Jermaine Burton. We have not necessarily recruited those guys as well as we have other positions. We have found some diamonds in the rough. And we're going to talk about when we come back next segment, where does that leave the offense, Clint?
It's going to be interesting, but first I want to let you know about betonline.ag. Betonline.ag is a sportsbook expert. Dan and I use them quite often because we are degenerates who love gambling and love sports betting. It's what we love to do.
That's fair.
It's beyond fair. It describes us fairly accurately. But we love it. You should love it too. BetOnline.ag. If you were with us all this last season, in season with sports betting, we made you a couple of bills betting on games. Right now, you can get futures on Masters. You can get NBA action, which, by the way, just get into that jungle that is the NBA, and God rest your soul. That is just a crazy, crazy mess over there. BetOnline.ag, your sportsbook experts. Right now, all of our listeners that go over there, put on the promo code Locked On, is going to get 100% deposit match up to $100. You put $100 in, they're going to match $100. You put 50 in, they're going to match 50. See how it works? You put it in, they match it, and it's free money for you to go bet. Put promo code Locked On in the promo code at betonline.ag, your sportsbook experts.
All right, Clint. So no JT Daniels.
Gone.
No Jermaine Burton.
He gone.
We know James Cook and Zamir White heading off to the NFL. We know Jamari Sawyer, Justin Schaefer,
yep,
heading off to the NFL. By the way, Justin Schaefer, NFL future, right?
100%.
Yeah, NFL future. Seen some things. Questioning, wondering about that. I think this dude's absolutely going to make a team. I think he's absolutely going to have a place. Rest of the offensive line, fairly stable. Young talent. It's going to be a prove-it year on the offensive line. We're fairly bullish on that group.
Yes.
Kendall Milton, by the way, it costs you a lot of money to learn this information, but he is transferring. Oh, no, wait. That's the paid information. The free yes. If you pay, you can learn that Kendall Milton is transferring.
But hold on, Daniel. But what if I was to tell you there's an app in which I could interact with his father and him, and they say he's not because it's, guess what, them that's saying it.
Oh, but that's free information?
It's free information.
You're saying it's free?
Free.
Fascinating. All right. Well, the free information in this case feels like it's a bit more reliable than the information that you pay for, which confuses me.
It is. It's very confusing.
Kendall Milton coming back. Kenny Mack coming back. Stetson Bennett coming back. Okay. We don't know the quarterback situation. Carson Beck, Brock Vandegrift, Gunnar Stockton. These are names at whatever the portal may bring. But what's this offense going to look like, Clint? That's just a big picture question. What's the offense going to look like? And do the losses of guys like Jermaine and JT drastically impact your perception about what the Georgia offense could be next year?
Doesn't change anything about my perception of what this offense can be, because I've seen what this offense can be already with a majority of these players. I got Brock Bowers. I got Big O. I got Eric Gilbert all of a sudden, who's at a parade. He's got, I don't know what's happening, but the tight end room is stacked. The wide receivers are again, Daniel, I don't know what to do with them. It's very odd to me. I'm feeling very weird. And you're going to tell me that either I have a proven national championship veteran who beats out all these talented 5-stars. Okay, great. Or I have 5-stars that beat out a national championship winning quarterback. Like we're in the best case scenario for our quarterback room. Whoever wins that position, I know bona fide stud. And you're telling me I get a freshman kid who locked down one of the best edge defenders already in the Natty game, coming back at tackle. I got another guy, Mims, who's already. I got McClendon. I got Van Pran. Just those 3-4, if I'm including Mims.
Yeah,
I'm fine with the offensive line. I've already seen what our running backs can give in a game. I'm very high on this offense. Just like last year when you and I came out and we said this could be the best defense we've ever seen at UGA. Certainly better than years prior, the couple of years prior with Roquan, and all of a sudden that hit. I think this year it's flipped for me. I think the defense is going to be adequate, but all of a sudden now I'm looking at this offense, I'm going, we could be better than this year offense, even with the loss of Jorge, even with the loss of Zeus and Cook. I'm beyond bullish and confident.
Yeah, I'll say this. The quarterback for Georgia next year is going to run.
Ooh.
And he's going to run by design. That's what's going to happen next year. I think the running back group as a unit is going to be better next year than it was this year. And that's a lot because that's our two best leaders. Now, there are things that are very difficult to quantify in terms of replacing. And leadership is one of them. And you saw that with the 2017 team and the 2018 team. Okay? Because the 2018 team had plenty of talent. But you know what it didn't have? It didn't have Nick and Sony and Lorenzo and Roquan. Okay, the 2018 team was missing some leaders. And so I know who's going to replace Zamir's carries.
Yep.
I know who's going to replace James Cook's catches out of the backfield. But I don't know who's going to replace that leadership on the offensive side of the ball. Yet another reason I think Stetson Bennett coming back is huge. I really do. I think it's a huge thing for the team. But this is going to be a tight end feature. Like the tight ends are going to catch the ball. I mean, I don't know. Why do you think Jermaine transferred? Like, why do you think he's leaving? Because
he sees the writing on the wall. He sees all these giant, enormous, fast men that are running with him in warm-ups. And he's like, what do I do? How do I stop that? Really quick, as we're talking about this running offense, as we're talking about the leadership from it, something that's really interesting to me, the biggest key piece that's going to be missing, not talent-wise, not numbers of carries, but for us, we called it the death march, Kirby death march. And you saw it in the national championship game when the offensive linemen they were hungrier than hungry to pile on, to push Zeus. Zeus's best carries were 8 yards, not 25 yards. They are 8 yards, and they were part of the death march. That takes leadership, that takes instinct, that takes a lot. That's not just talent, okay? That takes a lot of grit, determination, all that stuff. That's what's going to be missing from the offensive line and from the running backs. And I am questionable about that as well. But yeah, to your point, exactly right. This is Brock Bowers, Big O. Like, those are your featured guys.
Which is why, again, I mentioned in the last segment, but you're going to read a lot of stories because people need content and people are going to write things, whatever. You're going to read a lot of stories about Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint, and this is his year to step up, and he's finally healthy and all those things. And listen, I'm not disputing any of those factors. But I just don't know if a big-bodied wide receiver really has much. I don't know if there's that many catches available for him on this team because those dudes are already accounted for, and they're bigger and they're stronger and they're faster than those wide receivers. I think you're going to see a heavy dose of Big O, Brock Bowers, Oscar Delp. I think you're going to see a heavy dose of next year. And then I think you sprinkle in these little guys. Ladd McConkey, A.D. Mitchell, Kearis Jackson. Like, there's your offense, fellas. Like, and you know what?
And let's roll with it.
More. Give me more. Give me more of that.
We are very high on this team, regardless of what happens, because with the national championship winning Bulldogs, and we have Kirby Smart and all the talent that he's brought in, and nothing can bring me down.
Is he going to transfer? Is he going to transfer Kirby Smart?
No. By the way, just so you guys understand this, I fire Tom Crean. Yes and amen and all day, twice on Sunday. But as a Dog fan, start telling your children to learn the name Kirby Smart, because when they go to college in 16 years, Kirby Smart's still going to be there, guys. Like he's got his dream job, and he's at Everest, and he's not coming down. Like, hunker in.
We'll be here. We'll be here for a while. All right. Speaking of being here, we'll be here all week next week. So come on back, join us. We got a lot more to talk about this University of Georgia team, and we'll have it all for you next week on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts and wherever you find it.